If you've ever told someone your plans and suddenly everything fell apart, if you've shared your blessings and immediately faced attacks, if you've opened up to the wrong person and regretted it, then God has a message for you. There are 5 specific things that the Bible warns you to never share with anyone. Not your friends, not your family, not even people at church. And when you hear thing number 3, you're going to realize why your breakthrough keeps getting delayed. Every second of this video could save you years of pain. Don't skip. Thing 1, your level of income and blessings. The first thing you must never share: how much money you make, what God has blessed you with, and your financial status. The moment you start telling people about your raises, your bonuses, your investments, your blessings, jealousy activates. Proverbs 27:4 says, "Anger is cruel and fury overwhelming. But who can stand before jealousy?" People will congratulate you to your face and curse you behind your back. They'll celebrate with you in public and petition hell against you in private. Not everyone who smiles at your success is happy for you. Some are smiling while calculating how to bring you down. Look at Job. Job 1.3 says he was the greatest man among all the people of the East. His wealth was public knowledge. And what happened? Satan came before God and said, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not put a hedge around him and his household and everything he has?" Satan was aware of Job's blessings, and he petitioned God for permission to attack them. Now Job didn't lose everything because he was boastful. Job was righteous. But the point is that visible blessings attract spiritual attacks. When your blessings are on display, the enemy takes notice. Joseph's coat of many colors, a visible sign of his father's favor, provoked his brothers' jealousy to the point of murder. Genesis 37:4 says, "When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him." The visible blessing became a target. Jesus warned about this in Matthew 6:24 regarding giving. "Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. God rewards what's done in secret. But when you parade your blessings, you're inviting the evil eye, that spirit of jealousy and envy that seeks to destroy what you have." Here's what happens when you broadcast your income. People start feeling entitled to it. They come to you with their hands out. They make assumptions about what you should do with your money. They judge your purchases. They become bitter when you can't or won't help them. Proverbs 11:2 says, "When pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with humility comes wisdom." There's a fine line between gratitude and boasting. You can thank God for His blessings without posting your bank statements on social media. Remember the warning in Deuteronomy 8:17-18. You may say to yourself, "My power and the strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me." But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. When you boast about your blessings, you're taking credit that belongs to God, and pride comes before a fall. Here's your action step. Keep your financial blessings private. Don't tell people your salary. Don't announce every blessing God gives you. Don't post every purchase, every vacation, every upgrade. Let people wonder how you're doing, rather than giving them reasons to envy or judge you. Be like Abraham's servant in Genesis 24, who went to find a wife for Isaac carrying great wealth, but moved discreetly and only revealed his mission to the right person at the right time. Your blessings are not for public consumption. They're between you and God. Let your generosity be seen, but let your wealth be hidden. Thing 2, your family problems and private struggles. The second thing you must never share: your family's problems, your marriage issues, and your private struggles. When you're going through something difficult, you want support. You want to vent. You want people to understand what you're dealing with. But Proverbs 11:13 warns, "A gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret." The problem is that most people can't keep secrets. What you share in confidence becomes their dinner table conversation. Your marriage struggles become church gossip. Your children's issues become neighborhood talk. And once information is out there, you can't take it back. Here's what happens when you air your family problems. You give people ammunition to judge your family. You damage your spouse's reputation. You embarrass your children. And you create lasting impressions that can't be undone even after the problem is resolved. Genesis 9 tells the story of Noah getting drunk and lying naked in his tent. His son Ham saw his father's nakedness and told his brothers. Ham broadcasted his father's shame. And the result? Ham's entire lineage was cursed. Canaan, his son, and all his descendants suffered because Ham couldn't keep his mouth shut. But Shem and Japheth, Noah's other sons, took a garment and walked backward. to cover their father's nakedness. Without looking at him, they protected their father's dignity, and they were blessed. The principle is this: when your family members are vulnerable, when they're struggling, when they're at their worst, cover them, protect them. Don't expose them to outsiders. Proverbs 18:8 says, "The words of a gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to a person's inmost parts." When you share family problems, you're feeding gossips. You're giving them exactly what they crave: inside information about someone else's dysfunction. Moreover, when you constantly complain about your spouse to others, you're building a case against them in other people's minds. Even after you forgive and move on, those people will still remember what you told them. You've permanently damaged how they see your spouse. 1 Peter 4:8 says, "Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins." Love doesn't expose. Love doesn't broadcast. Love covers and protects. This doesn't mean you can't get help. If you're in an abusive situation, if you need counseling, if you need intervention, go to a pastor, a licensed counselor, or a trusted mature believer bound by confidentiality. But don't post on social media. Don't gossip to friends. Don't turn your family's struggles into public knowledge. Here's the spiritual reality. When you expose your family's issues, you open doors for the enemy to exploit those issues. The enemy works through shame, exposure, and public humiliation. When you broadcast problems, you're literally partnering with the enemy's strategy to destroy your family. Job's wife told him to curse God and die when he was at his lowest. His friends came to comfort him, but spent the entire time accusing him and making his suffering worse. Sometimes the people you tell your problems to become part of the problem. Proverbs 21:23 says, "Those who guard their mouths and their tongues keep themselves from calamity." Your mouth can create calamity or prevent it. When you talk too much about your struggles, you magnify them. You give them more power. You attract more negativity. Here's your action step. Keep your family matters private. Handle issues internally or with professional help. Don't vent to friends who will take sides. Don't post passive-aggressive messages on social media. Protect your family's dignity and privacy. Nehemiah 6:3 is your response when people try to get you to gossip. "I am carrying on a great project and cannot go down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and go down to you?" You have a family to protect. You have a legacy to build. You don't have time to broadcast your struggles. Your family's problems are not entertainment. They're not content. They're not conversation starters. They're sacred tests that God will use to strengthen you, but only if you handle them with wisdom and discretion. Thing 3, your next move. The third thing you must never share. Your next move, your plans and your strategies. You have a vision. You see the business you're going to start, the ministry you're going to launch, the move you're going to make, and the excitement makes you want to tell everyone. But the moment you announce your plans, opposition rises. People discourage you. Doubt creeps in. Obstacles appear out of nowhere. This isn't coincidence, it's spiritual warfare, triggered by premature disclosure. Ecclesiastes 3:7 says there is a time to be silent and a time to speak. Most people speak too soon and suffer the consequences. Look at Joseph in Genesis 37. He had a dream that his brothers would bow to him. He was 17 years old, full of excitement, and he told his brothers. Genesis 37:5 says Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. His brothers' response? They plotted to kill him and eventually sold him into slavery. Joseph's dream was from God. His destiny was real. But his timing was wrong. He shared his next move with people who were jealous of him, and it cost him 13 years in slavery and prison. The dream still came to pass, but the premature sharing added unnecessary suffering. Here's what you need to understand. When you announce your plans, you invite 3 things: opinions, opposition, and spiritual attacks. People will give you unsolicited advice that creates confusion. They'll project their limitations onto your vision. They'll tell you all the reasons it won't work, based on their own failures and fears. Worse, when you share your God-given vision with the wrong people, you give the enemy intel. The devil doesn't know what God has whispered to you in secret until you broadcast it. Satan isn't omniscient. He doesn't know your thoughts or God's plans for you. But when you announce them, you're literally giving the enemy your battle strategy. Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty." Notice it says the plans of the diligent, not the announcements of the diligent. Move in silence, work in secret. Let your results be your announcement. Jesus modeled this. In Mark 1:43-44, after healing a leper, Jesus sent him away at once with a strong warning. "See that you don't tell this to anyone." Why would Jesus tell someone not to share a miracle? Because premature publicity attracts the wrong kind of attention and interrupts God's timing. Here's your action step. Stop announcing what you're about to do. Stop posting your plans on social media before you execute them. Stop telling everyone your business ideas, your ministry vision, your next career move. Instead, move in silence and let God amplify you in His timing. Mary, the mother of Jesus, is your model. Luke 2:19 says, "But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart." When the shepherds told her about the angelic announcement, when the wise men brought gifts, when Simeon prophesied, she didn't broadcast it. She pondered it. She kept it sacred. Keep your next move between you and God until it's time for the world to see the manifestation. Thing 4. Your private spiritual experiences. The fourth thing you must keep to yourself, your intimate spiritual experiences, visions and encounters with God. When God speaks to you, when He gives you a revelation, when you experience His presence in a powerful way, your first instinct might be to share it. But some things are too sacred to broadcast. Some revelations are meant only for you. Paul the Apostle had an experience so profound that he couldn't even talk about it. In 2 Corinthians 12:2-4, he wrote, "I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven, was caught up to paradise and heard inexpressible things, things that no one is permitted to tell." Paul saw and heard things beyond human language, but he kept it secret for 14 years. And even when he finally mentioned it, he spoke in third person and gave no details. Why? Because some things are too holy to share. Some experiences are just between you and God. Jesus took Peter, James, and John up to the Mount of Transfiguration. They saw Moses and Elijah. They saw Jesus in His glory. It was the most incredible experience of their lives. And in Matthew 17:9, as they were coming down the mountain, Jesus instructed them, "Don't tell anyone what you have seen, until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." Even revelations from God come with timing restrictions. You can't share everything you see and hear just because you experienced it. Some things must be kept secret until God says it's time. Here's why this matters. When you share intimate spiritual experiences with the wrong people, they will doubt you, mock you, or misunderstand you. Not everyone can handle the depth of what God shows you. Matthew 7:6 says, "Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces." Your spiritual experiences are pearls. Most people aren't ready for them. They'll either dismiss them as emotional manipulation, question your sanity, or worse, use it as ammunition to attack you. Moreover, when you casually share deep revelations, you cheapen them. You make holy things common. You take something sacred and reduce it to casual conversation. And God may stop showing you things if you prove unfaithful with what He's already revealed. The prophet Daniel received visions that troubled him deeply. Daniel 8:27 says, "I, Daniel, was worn out. I lay exhausted for several days. Then I got up and went about the king's business. I was appalled by the vision. It was beyond understanding." He didn't run around telling everyone. He pondered it. He kept it close. Mary, the mother of Jesus, is mentioned twice in Scripture as someone who treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. Luke 2:19-51. When angels appeared, when prophecies were spoken, when miracles happened, she didn't broadcast it. She meditated on it privately. Here's the danger of oversharing spiritual experiences. You become vulnerable to spiritual pride. When people praise you for your encounters with God, you start seeking encounters to impress people rather than to know God. Your motivation becomes corrupted. Also, you invite skepticism and testing. People will question your experiences. They'll challenge you. They'll make you doubt what God clearly showed you. And if your foundation isn't solid, their doubt will infect you. Here's your action step. Keep your encounters with God sacred. Write them in a journal. Between you and Him. Share them only when God specifically tells you to, and only with people He directs you to. Don't cheapen the holy by making it casual conversation. Your intimacy with God is not entertainment. It's not content. It's not a testimony to boost your reputation. It's sacred communion that should be protected and treasured. Thing 5. Your good deeds and acts of kindness. The fifth thing, and this is crucial, don't broadcast your good deeds, your acts of service, or how much you help others. This is the one most Christians get wrong. We live in a social media age where everyone posts about their volunteer work, their donations, their mission trips. But Jesus gave explicit instructions about this in Matthew 6:2-4. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets, to be honored by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full. Did you catch that? When you announce your good deeds publicly, you get your reward immediately from people, but you forfeit your reward from God. You're trading eternal reward for temporary applause. The Pharisees made this mistake. They prayed loudly on street corners. They made sure everyone saw them fasting. They gave alms with announcements, and Jesus called them hypocrites. Matthew 23:5 says, "Everything they do is done for people to see." Here's the deeper issue. When you broadcast your good deeds, you're doing them for the wrong reason. Your motive shifts from loving God and serving people to seeking validation and building your reputation. And God sees the heart. 1 Corinthians 4:5 says, "He will bring to light what is hidden in darkness and will expose the motives of the heart. At that time each will receive their praise from God." God rewards secret service with public honor, but in His timing, not yours. Think about the widow who gave 2 small coins in Mark 12:41-44. She gave quietly, privately, expecting no recognition. But Jesus saw her, and her story has been told for 2,000 years. Her secret sacrifice became eternally famous because God honored it. Contrast that with Ananias and Sapphira in Acts 5. They sold property and gave part of the money to the church, but they lied and said they gave it all, seeking praise for a sacrifice they didn't actually make. Both dropped dead on the spot. God takes this seriously. Here's what happens when you advertise your good deeds. You rob God of the glory. You inflate your own ego, and you create expectations in others that you're supposed to be their personal savior. People start seeing you as their source instead of seeing God as their source. Moreover, you lose your reward. Matthew 6:1 is clear. Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. When people praise you, that's your reward. Done. God doesn't owe you anything else for that deed. But when you serve in secret, give in secret, help in secret, God keeps a record and He rewards openly. Sometimes that reward is in this life. Sometimes it's in eternity, but it's guaranteed. Colossians 3:23-24 says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward." Your audience is God, not social media. Here's your action step. Stop posting about your volunteer work. Stop announcing your donations. Stop telling everyone you helped someone. Do it quietly. Let God be your witness. Let your reward come from Him, not from people's likes and comments. Jesus fed 5,000 people, and then He withdrew to a mountain by Himself. He healed multitudes, and then He told them not to tell anyone. He served in power but lived in humility. That's your model. Serve loudly but promote quietly. Let your works speak for themselves without your commentary. Let me bring this home. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. Proverbs 10:19 says, "Sin is not ended by multiplying words, but the prudent hold their tongues." The 5 things I've shared today: your next move, your income and blessings, your good deeds, your spiritual experiences, and your family problems. These are sacred territories that must be guarded. James 1:26 warns, "Those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues deceive themselves, and their religion is worthless." Your spirituality is measured not by how much you say, but by how well you control what you say. Every time you share something God told you to keep quiet, you delay your own breakthrough. Every time you broadcast what should be private, you invite unnecessary warfare. Every time you expose what should be covered, you give the enemy access. Here's what you must understand. Not everything needs to be said. Not everyone needs to know. Not every moment needs to be posted. Some things are meant to be kept between you and God, you and your family, you and your journal. Psalm 39:1 says, "I will watch my ways and keep my tongue from sin. I will put a muzzle on my mouth." You need a spiritual muzzle, a discipline of silence that protects what matters most. Starting today, practice strategic silence. Move in quiet obedience. Serve without announcing. Experience God without broadcasting. Protect your family without exposing them. And watch how God begins to honor your discretion with acceleration. Proverbs 13:3 promises, "Those who guard their lips preserve their lives, but those who speak rashly will come to ruin." Your mouth can either preserve your destiny or destroy it. Choose wisely. If this message convicted you, drop a comment and say, "I choose wisdom and silence." Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe, because we're going deeper into biblical wisdom that transforms lives. Remember, not everything needs to be said. Some secrets are meant to stay between you and God. Protect what matters. Guard your tongue and watch God promote you in His perfect timing. Stay blessed. Stay silent. Stay obedient.